What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy May 15. We are halfway through May. Can't you guys believe it? Ladies and gentlemen, this just comes to show that this year has gone by so quickly. But anyways, we still have a lot of good stuff to talk about. So now let's get to it. Now let's talk about the whole entire Casey and Diddy situation that's going on right now. Well, Diddy's defense says his sexual preferences are part of a swinger's lifestyle. And Casey just testified that they did some swinging. Well, apparently, Casey is being cross-examined by Diddy's defense attorney Ana Esteval, and she confirmed she had conversations with Diddy about a swinger's lifestyle when they were in a relationship. Well, apparently the singer says she experienced swinging firsthand when she accompanied Diddy to sex clubs, watching him have sex with other women multiple times, which sounds like a reversal of the freak-offs where a previous witness said Diddy would watch her have sex with a male sex worker. Alright, so apparently Esteval asked Casey straight up if the freak-offs were related to the swinger's lifestyle, and she responded, related in a sexual way, yeah, but they're very different. Alright, so Diddy being a swinger is a key part of his defense, with the head of his legal team, Mark Agnifilo, previously arguing being a swinger is so common, Diddy probably didn't think twice about it. Alright, so last year's federal indictment of Diddy mentions the now famous freak-offs parties, calling them elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. So this is all according to TMZ. This is really insane that a lot of other things are coming out to the light now that this whole entire case is going on in between Casey and Diddy. I think that it's so darn crazy that there was a little swinging going on in between Casey and Diddy, because that just comes to show that they weren't really having a really decent relationship, because I believe that a decent relationship is where two people make love together, two people love each other, respect each other, and are there for each other. A relationship is not about going off to other women and going off to other men, having sex here and there in these sex clubs, because that's just so darn wrong and so darn slimy at the same time, you know? But I believe that P. Diddy was doing more of the swinging than Casey was, because, I mean, P. Diddy, I can already tell he's nothing but a pig that loves to be sleeping with women, abusing women here and there, especially because of the fact that, of course, he already got accused of sex trafficking. Let's remember that. And let's also remember that this guy is the same guy that doesn't even have any dignity. He doesn't have any shame for any of the things that he has done, and yet again he doesn't want to accept his own fault, and he wants to be pointing fingers at other people for the stuff that he's been doing, which to me is really sad and really sickening and really low at the same time. So I believe that with all of this being said, Casey really has her rights to be defending herself in this whole entire case, even though, of course, her having sex with a male worker, to me, is not really good, especially because she was right in front of Diddy when she was doing it, I believe, back when they were in a relationship. However, I believe that Casey does have the right to be defending herself with the whole entire case that she got abused while being in a relationship with Diddy, because that right there is not cool. That right there is sickening. And also, let's remember that it must be traumatizing just having to go through a situation where you were abused, you were 100% down talked, you were 100% intimidated by a man like this. So with all of that being said, I think that Casey has more to win in this than Diddy does. And I think that if Diddy tries to even say, oh my God, well, I had the reasons to beat up Casey, I had the reasons to be intimidating Casey, and oh my God, it's because I was going through this as to why I did this to Casey, then that right there is not going to really make him win in the case. That right there is actually going to make him sink more in the hole, because nobody is really going to be, what's it called, excusing him for his actions. Nobody is going to be condoning his actions, especially in the court. Everybody's going to be like, no, you did what you did. You should have never done that, because at the end of the day, you hitting somebody, especially somebody that you were dating, is actually so wrong in all levels, and you are nothing but a danger that deserves to still stay behind bars after all. So anyways, this is just so darn intense, man, what this case is going through right now. And man, I really wish nothing but luck for poor Casey. I wish nothing but luck, man. All right, but let's see what else is going to happen from this case as the days go by. All right, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Tiffany Trump. So Tiffany Trump just welcomed her first child, which happens to be a baby boy, just today. And Tiffany Trump just announced it today on her Instagram. All right, so apparently there was a photo of the little guy's tiny foot on her Instagram. And apparently his name is Alexander Trump Bolos. All right, so Tiffany is Trump's fourth child, and the 31-year-old is the only offspring of Donald and his second wife, Marla Maples, by the way. So she has been working in stuff like fashion and media and music, and she also got to release a song like 14 years ago. And she basically has a really good social media following because of that. And of course, she got to campaign with her father back in 2016 and 2020. So congratulations to Tiffany Trump on the welcome of her baby boy. I really hope and I really wish that everything turns out well for her now that she is entering motherhood. And I also really hope that Trump gets to have a little bit of a heart now that his grandson is now in this world, because unfortunately with all of the chaos that has been going on, I've seen that this man has been acting like a total lunatic, and I think that now he needs to calm it down at least a little bit, and hopefully the baby will give him the peace and the serenity, because normally when babies come into this world, they give us this peace, this serenity, this love. And I believe that now that the baby is coming into this world, I think there's going to be, a lot of pictures of the baby going around, maybe at the White House. There's going to be pictures of the baby all over social media, that's for sure, because I mean, if there's one thing that the Trump family does is really, call all of the attention here and there. And I mean, I believe that it would be a little bit intimidating though for the baby if there is a photo of the baby all over social media, especially all over the White House, because it's a baby. I feel like babies deserve a little privacy when they are born. They deserve to have their own space because they are very innocent, and there's just so many judgmental people out there that love to judge and that love to go after you and this and that, especially after the baby. But I think that is just so darn cool, though, that Tiffany Trump now has a baby boy, especially because maybe the baby boy is going to grow up to be a gentleman, the whole entire opposite from Donald Trump, hopefully. And that's if Tiffany Trump really gets to be raising this baby boy well. I don't know. I hope so. But anyways, yeah, so good luck to the motherhood of Tiffany Trump. Good luck to this baby boy now that he is in this world that we live in. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Megyn Kelly. So Megyn Kelly says she walked into a tame version of a Diddy party at the Met Gala back in the day, claiming she walked into the woman's room of the museum and caught Diddy grinding on a Kardashian, though a source denies that ever happened. So the controversial commentator appeared on The Nerve with Maureen Callahan earlier this month, where she repeated her telling of an encounter she had with Diddy back during one of her two Met Gala experiences. Okay, so Kelly attended both the 2016 and 2017 iterations of the event, and she says during one of them she went to the restroom and found Diddy, several Kardashians, and a bunch of no-name influencers just hanging out in there. All right, so Megyn Kelly says Diddy was dry humping with his Kardashian pal, though she wouldn't spill the tea on which member of the famous fam was getting up close and personal with Diddy. Alright, so Kelly claims Diddy being in the bathroom at all and humping away at a lady in full view of all is evidence that he has no respect for private woman's space or women in general. All right, so this is really scary and this is really weird what I'm hearing here. Yeah, this just comes to show that P. Diddy really loves to hang it around with the woman, especially with those Kardashians. And if this is true that P. Diddy was dry humping one of the Kardashians at some room during a Met Gala, then I believe that it's no surprise that he was doing this because the Kardashians, I have to admit, they are just very out there. And then P. Diddy, let's say, he's also very out there. And I think that they really were very curious as to what P. Diddy had to offer. I mean, I know it was a dry hump, but yet again, it's just very freaking, very weird because, I mean, that's just like giving a little taste on what it really feels like to be having the good with P. Diddy. But if I were in the Kardashian shoes, man, they should have not even had any contact with P. Diddy. I mean, maybe they didn't even know what P. Diddy was up to back in the day because, I mean, this was like maybe 8-9 years ago when this happened. But yeah, why get it on with somebody while you're over here just, representing yourself over at the Met Gala and you're just having a good time and you are basically just trying to be professional after all. And then, of course, you should have known that Megyn Kelly or anybody else would have walked into that room and been like, what the hell is going on? Megyn Kelly, man, I can't imagine how weirded out she was just having to walk in there and watch one of the Kardashians get dry humped by the one and only P. Diddy, because it must be so uncomfortable having to see that and having to know that there's just no decency with that man. There's just no decency, not even with one of the Kardashians, And if it was Kim Kardashian that was doing it with P. Diddy, then that would be even weirder because I believe that back in the day, Kim Kardashian was still married to Kanye West. And if Kanye West would have caught that, then Kanye West would have gone after freaking P. Diddy, because if there's one thing that Kanye West wanted was to just have a really stable relationship with Kim Kardashian at the time. And of course, he is just somebody that gets super explosive, and you do not want to get in Kanye West's explosive side. So, yeah, I believe that Kim and P. Diddy were really lucky they didn't get caught by the one and only Kanye West at the time, and that's if Kim Kardashian was the one that's getting dry humped. I don't know, it could have been Khloe, it could have been Kourtney Kardashian that got dry humped, or maybe one of the Jenners, because one of the Jenners is also called one of the Kardashians too. So I don't know, man. But one thing that I can also say though is that now if this really happened and if the Kardashians are actually looking back at this, they're gonna be so darn embarrassed. They're gonna be so darn weirded out just having to look back at getting dry humped by a sex trafficker and by a predator, because now they're going to be like, what the hell did I just do? What the hell just happened? Why did it just happen? Just why? Okay, and that's all I have to say about this. Okay, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about something pretty serious. So JoJo Siwa and her woman, who happened to be Kath Ebbs, well, as we all know, they broke up like a few months ago. Well, after their breakup continued to make headlines, JoJo Siwa's ex, Kath Ebbs, is sharing their side of the story. All right, so in a 90-minute episode of their podcast Conversations with Kath posted on Wednesday, the 27-year-old, who is non-binary and uses they/them pronouns, opened up about their split from Siwa, recalling the moment they called it quits at the wrap party for Celebrity Big Brother UK after Siwa's stint on the reality series. So Ebbs first revealed that the pair had broken up in a since-deleted TikTok video they shared on April 26, saying Siwa broke up with them at the CBB UK wrap party. The split marked rumors that Siwa's close friendship with Love Island alum Chris Hughes may have been the reason behind the breakup. Alright, so apparently on their podcast, Ebbs emotionally reflected on the now public split, shared their thoughts on Hughes and Siwa's relationship, addressed claims of grooming, and more. Alright, so anyways, this is really insane, man. I believe that it's really crazy that a close friendship with somebody can really impact a relationship. It really sounds like what's going on here is that maybe there was something going on in between Chris Hughes and JoJo Siwa, which is the reason to why that close friendship in between JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes was what affected the relationship in between JoJo Siwa and Kath Ebbs in the first place. And God forbid that maybe there was something sexual going on between them, and maybe Kath Ebbs caught both JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes making love in a bedroom, which is what caused the whole entire breakup. And God forbid that maybe there was a lot of emotional abuse going on with that, of course. And also, God forbid that there was also grooming going on too. Because I do believe that it's just very traumatizing and it's very sad just having to catch your own woman, your own man cheating on you, especially having sexual relationships with somebody else. And also very traumatizing just having to know that they've been sending each other nudes and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that there was that going on in between JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes. I'm just saying that if it would have happened, I can't imagine how traumatizing it could have been. So with all of that being said, there is a really good reason as to why this whole entire breakup happened. And I'm saying that that's if it's really true, like I said, if there was actually grooming and sexual relationships going on in between Chris and JoJo. And I believe that it was also a little bit sketchy how like a few months ago when JoJo Siwa had broken up, JoJo Siwa wasn't really getting specific about the breakup. It just happened. And what was even more sketchy to me was that the relationship didn't even last at all. I believe it only lasted for like 6 months, which to me is nothing. So, I don't know, but if JoJo Siwa really wants to be in a really good relationship, then she needs to know where she wants to put herself into. She really needs to know how to be in a really good relationship, because this right here and a cheating on somebody is definitely not a really good relationship. It's actually not very healthy, and it's actually very betrayful in all levels. And I'm not trying to be the judge here. I'm just saying what I think is correct, because if there's one thing that I don't like is having to see when there is a lot of betraying going on in a relationship that you once trusted and that you once were in. So with all of that being said, man, I don't know, but I think that this is really going to give a really bad look on JoJo if this is really true what happened in between Chris Hughes and JoJo Siwa. And it's just going to be a lot of fire from there, you know? And it's just, you know, going to be something to the point where JoJo Siwa is like maybe not even going to get in a stable marriage, or maybe she's not going to get in a stable relationship if she continues off cheating and betraying and this and that. So I don't know, man. This is just so sad, so sad, in my opinion. And, you know, poor Kath Ebbs. And that is all I have to say about this. But anyways, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.